3 questions. The first question, when do you know to stop when you are meditating? When the bell goes. Very simple. Don't you think? When the bell goes, it's time for lunch. We stop. Why do you want to stop? You mean when you're meditating, you cannot stop? Yeah, if you're meditating, you cannot stop. You know what that means? You're sleeping. You're already dozed into sleeping. You don't know when to stop, who you are. Well, I have people who, every time when we have the 7 days meditation retreat, the same question always came, not the same person, the question always asked of me. It says, Reverend, it seems that I went into samadhi. So I started to meditate on the 3rd day, and then suddenly I got into concentration. I got into emptiness. And then when I woke up, it's already 1 hour. So is that concentration in samadhi? So I kept on asking him, I said, how do you feel? I don't know, I didn't feel anything. I said, yes, you were sleeping. Because you don't know anything, you are sleeping. And that is not meditation, that is sleeping. And sleeping is a major shortcoming of your practice. There was a monk, a very high-level meditating monk, and when he got to a certain age, a senior age, about 70, and every time he continued meditating, he fell asleep. So he said, I cannot keep on like this. If I'm always sleeping, I'm sleeping away my time. If I keep on sleeping in every meditation, I'm wasting my time. He said, I must find a method so that I won't go to sleep. He found a cliff, and he was meditating right at the edge of the cliff. It's like here, meditating in here. So he was on a cliff, and down below is 100 feet. So if you meditate, you meditate in there, and then if you sleep, boom, you fall into the abyss, you fall into the cliff and you died, 100 feet down. So that's how I must, because I want to enlighten, I want to have enlightenment, I want to get away from reincarnation, I don't want to reincarnate anymore, I must get enlightenment. So he was meditating on a cliff, at the edge of the cliff. And he was meditating at this time. He had to be very alert. So he was meditating. And after about 1 hour, boom, he dropped. He dropped down. And right in the middle of the fall, there was a huge hand, boom, holding him and pushing up to the cliff. And then a man appeared by his side. Oh, who is this Diva? Why you are saving me? Why are you saving me? The Diva is Wei To Pusa. You know the Buddha statue right watching us? Right in the center, right there in the shrine? Do the incense burner? There was a Diva. The sword is pointing down, Wei To Pusa, protection of Buddhism. He was a Diva. And this Diva always wanted to protect practitioners of Buddhism. And he said, I am Veda. I'm protecting you because you have the courage to do that. I respect people who have the courage, even at the expense of sacrificing your life, you still want to get enlightened. I like to protect that kind of people because you can risk your life into practice. So you are very good in your practice, so I must protect you. I won't let you die. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I want to practice again, but I want to ask you one more question. So I think there must be not many people like me who can practice like that. All of a sudden he feels some arrogance in him. I am that kind of a person who is courageous, and not many people are like that. So I even get the protection from the Deva, so I must be very high level. And Vedo Deva said, oh, all of a sudden you're not humble anymore. Because of the lack of humbleness, I'm not going to protect you anymore. You're not humble, you're arrogant. I'm not protecting you anymore for 500 lives. I always like to protect people who practice who even at the expense of sacrificing his life, but because you are arrogant, you're not humble, I'm not going to protect you anymore. So all of a sudden, Weidor disappeared. And this meditator was really regretful. Oh, I was very arrogant. I was not humble enough. Well, what should I do? Well, I'll continue. I don't really care. I must not go into sleep. I must continue to practice at the edge of the cliff. And even though if I drop dead, so let be it. If I drop dead, let be it. Because I want, what's the use? If I always sleep, I cannot get enlightened. What's the use of living? I may as well prefer death. So he continued to meditate at the edge of the cliff. And he continued to meditate and meditate. But he was so tired that boom, he dropped again. The second time dropping into the cliff. And then this hand appeared again and pushed him up. Oh, why did you save me, Diva Weidor? Because of one thought already surpassed 500 lives. Because you're so courageous, because you're even at the sacrifice of your life, you still want to continue. That thought already surpassed 500 lives, so I came back for you. But at that time, he was really very enlightened, and he continued to practice, and no more sleeping anymore for him. So sleeping is a major shortcoming of the practice of Buddhism. Sleeping. So you ask me, when do you know to stop when you are meditating? If you are sleeping, you don't know when to stop until your head hit the floor. Then you boom, you stop. But if you are not sleeping, I'm sure you know when to stop. When the bell goes, you don't know how to, stop. Go for lunch, you go stop. Next question in the same paper. How long does an individual stay in hell or ghost realm? That is, are you stuck forever once you're in that realm? No. If you're in that realm and you got stuck forever in there, that means there is permanence. There is self-sustaining nature, and that's contradictory. So nothing is not changing. Everything is impermanent. Even people suffering in hell, maybe for a long time, but that's not going to be permanent. When the time ripes, it will go on to the next realm again. So you'll not be in hell all the time. It may be for a very long time, but you may not be there all the time. I read in a sutra that there was a very corrupt and vicious official in a certain ancient dynasty in China. And he was responsible for a rebellion against the king, and he was responsible also for the killing of a very courageous general in the imperial court. He talked the king into killing that general. And that general was so patriotic that the whole country, all the people of that country loved him. So later people find out about the corruption of this official, and he was punished accordingly. And then this official, when he died, he went down to hell because of his corrupted practices. And then Siddhagapa Bodhisattva was preaching Buddhism in hell. And one day he met that official. Siddhagapa Bodhisattva said, why don't you chant the Buddha's name? If you chant enough of that Buddha's name, then you may have the merit to get out from hell. And this official was so covered with impurity and mental afflictions that, you know what he said? I don't want to chant in the name. I'm suffering and I don't want to chant in the name. And Siddhagapa said, just Amitabha. In the mind of Siddhagapa Bodhisattva, if he said, I don't want to chant Amitabha, still he chanted Amitabha, right? Then he may have an elevation. But you know what he said? He said, I don't want to chant that name. He didn't even mention Amitabha, because he was so much covered with karmic energy that he didn't even mention negatively that name. Because once you mention that name, then it hits your alaya consciousness, you may have a chance to get out. But even that, he didn't have the benefit of that name to get out from hell, and he's suffering in hell. So how long? Depends on karmic energy in hell. Next question. Reverend, what do you think about abortion? Do you agree with abortion? Human abortion, I already mentioned a few weeks ago. The Buddhist teaching is against all killing. Is abortion a killing? Abortion is a killing. And according to the United Nations statistics, you know how many abortions are there per day? How many babies get killed internationally? Abortion. 4 million. Check Google if you don't believe me. 4 million per year abortions internationally. So imagine, approximately about 15 million got killed in the First World War. And the First World War lasted for how long? 2-3 years? So every year 4 million aborted children, aborted death. So 3 years is 12 million already. 4 million, we human beings kill 4 million babies per year. And who are these babies? They are your sons and daughters. You kill your own sons and daughters. Every year, 4 millions. You imagine what kind of practices you're doing. What do? Atrociously. You kill your own, not just your own species, your own beloved ones. You brought him to the world because of your sensual satisfaction that you required, or whatever it is, your love, you call it love, quote unquote. I don't know if you know what is love, by your definition of love. You come to this sensuous world and you thought that you need that kind of relationship, and because of that, you brought that baby to the world. If you brought that baby to the world, you have a responsibility to keep him alive. But usually most people said, I didn't bring him to the world. I just did it out of my, I didn't know about it. They preach ignorance. So abortion, the Buddhist teaching does not agree with any killing. And also, why did that baby come to the world? Because of you, your relationship. And when a baby comes to the world, he will grow up if you don't have the abortion. And usually there are 4 reasons why they come to this world. Your children. 4 reasons why your children come to this world, to be your sons, to be your daughters. Well, there's 4 reasons. Still remember? Number 1, repayment of a debt. He's going to repay you because he owed you something in the previous lives. Number 2 is request for repayment from you. So you got to pay him. You got to bring him up. You got to give him the education. You got to give him all he wants. He hates you. He dislikes you. He showed no filial piety towards you. He just wants you to repay his debt. If he is repaying you, you are okay, because he's making all the money and said, Mom and Dad, I'm giving you a big a Mercedes-Benz for Christmas, because he owed you the money. He didn't mean to love you. He didn't love you. He just gave you the money. So it's repayment of debt or request for repayment of debt. Now that is purely on material. There are 2 other reasons, based on emotions. Because he came back for the repayment of an emotion. Because he loved you and you didn't love him before, now he come back with the love. You have to love him. Love her, the baby. He doesn't love you, but you loved him. So there are parents who love their children so much, but their children hate them. Your repayment of an emotion. Or you ask for repayment of emotion. Or maybe he loved you and you don't love him. The children who love his parents so much, and then his brother or sister didn't love the parents, because he's repaying his emotional love to the parents. It could be vice versa. So all these children come with a reason. All this, we are together with unfinished businesses. Could be a debt, could be an emotion. Which one it is for you, you know. It's private. Okay, so the Buddhist teaching said, no killing, so no abortion. Don't do that kind of a relationship irresponsibly, because you brought that baby to the world yourself. Although it's through ignorance, you have to live up to it. Be responsible. Don't just kill him. You could kill the mom too, the pregnant woman too. It could be 2 lives. Next question. Currently, there's a man on death row for a terrible crime. He would like to donate his organs, but this has become controversial because some feel there is a kind of redemption in this act, so think this should not be allowed. Well, donation of an organ, we talk about it many times. When a man passes away, when a person passes away, his consciousness may not leave within the 8 hours. So he still have feelings. The dead person may be clinically pronounced as death, but he still have feeling within the 8 hours. If he has still feeling, if you cut him open and got his heart out and got his liver out and got his lung out, got his kidney out, bladder out, he feel the pain. He still could feel the pain. Because if anybody donates his organ, it has to be operated on immediately after death. Otherwise, the organ is useless. It has to be maybe 1 hour, within 1 hour. But that man still have the painful feeling. Imagine someone cut you open without anesthesia. It's highly controversial. But on the other hand, if you are a bodhisattva and you said, I can stand the pain. As long as my organ would help someone, even I feel painful, it's just about for 8 hours, 7 hours, I can stand. I'm a bodhisattva, I sacrifice my life for it, so let be it. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. Then donate your organ. If you think that you're a bodhisattva, you don't mind standing the pain, you don't mind going through all this suffering yourself, even though you're dead, you can't move, then that's good. I really compliment you for doing that. That is really a great thing to do. But if you're just an ordinary person who does not want to be cut open, who think that if you want to go to the Pure Land, say that if you want to go to the Pure Land, you chant so much, and then at the juncture of death, somebody cut you open, you're agonizing, you cannot concentrate, and you cannot go to the land of bliss because of this pain, then you may still roll into reincarnation. This is controversial. I'm not going to say yes, and I'm not going to say no, because it all depends on the circumstances.